What's good? It's your boy Rico. Welcome back to another episode of Fall Guys. Now, what in the world is the big YEETUS? It's been floating around the internet for the past couple of days. It was actually trending on Twitter. Like, the army of Fall Guys is insane, and I'm happy to be a part of the community. But what is it? When is it going to be released? All I know is there's going to be some random big hammer or mallet that you see in some of the levels. Well, the hammer that you see in some of the levels, but it's going to be bigger. And it's going to randomly show up in some levels, and it's just going to launch you. You can use it to grief people, maybe. You can use it to your advantage to qualify. Who knows? But I figure the best way to figure out what exactly it is to jump in with the creators of the actual game and Big YEETUS and the people who run the Twitter account. So let's jump in and see what it's all about. All right, guys, here we are. We do have, like I said, I believe Oliver is the one who runs the Twitter, and I think Joseph is the guy who created the Big YEETUS. So we're just going to jump in and just see what it's all about. I might be in the way. I might hide myself. Hold on. Yeah, all right, let's see.
Hi, I'm Oliver, age 24, the guy who runs this Twitter account.
Hi, Oliver.
Hi, I'm Joseph Jewson. I'm a level designer on Fall Guys, and I also created Big YEETUS.
Which is great, because
Dude,
that's
so
why
hyped.
we're here today, to discuss Big YEETUS, where it came from, what inspired it, and where it's going. So first of all, what is the story of Big YEETUS?
Well, you know, like any good origin story, I think YEETUS started with tragedy. You know, we have the hammer in the game. You've probably seen it in a lot of levels. Probably caused you quite a lot of pain, and that's kind of what I sourced this from. It was that pain from players. I was like, let's give something back to the players, because that's what we're all about here. And you know, so I took the hammer and I put it in the level and I sped it up.
Okay, wait. So he said he put the hammer in the level, and he sped it up. Okay, so there is a fan on the World League that spins really fast. I wonder if it has the same mechanics as that. But he did say something about Big YEETUS and a tragedy. I have no...
It's great. The weird thing is,
I know nothing about Big YEETUS, so let's take a quick search here and see if there is actual... like an actual story of a Big YEETUS. I don't see anything. All I see is just Fall Guys, so... if there is an actual history of Big YEETUS, please let me know in the comments below, because that I don't know. All right, let's jump back into it.
in speed, but you're not really talking about the size of Big YEETUS. Obviously, it's much bigger than the other hammers.
Yeah, so, you know, size is relative,
matters.
as we know, thanks to the great scientists of our time.
Size is relative. There you have it.
But when you talk about size and the bigness of Big YEETUS, it is the exact same size
I just find it a little weird seeing two grown men talking about size, but okay.
as every hammer in the game.
That is shocking to hear. Visually, though, obviously it's got a really big character, personality. How does it look visually compared to the other hammers?
Well, it's interesting because, you know, when you talk about character, and when you have a character, say in like a book, you can't see them, but you know that they have character, you know, and so with Big YEETUS, it's very much, you know, they look exactly the same as every other hammer in the game, but you know that is such a detriment to the character and to the integrity of Big YEETUS that I'm actually kind of embarrassed that you asked that.
I'm embarrassed I asked as well. Wow. So my next question is, how did you convince the team that Big YEETUS was a good idea?
I mean, I think, is it the kind of idea that you need convincing on? And, you know, so I didn't have to convince anybody. I like, you know, that's how we roll here at Mediatonic. Put it in the game, it goes out there, and then you leak it on Twitter, and that's just how we roll. And then, you know, but the great thing about you leaking it is the rest of the team don't have a chance to disagree with it because it's already out there.
Some people are saying that Big YEETUS means
funny.
that there is a little YEETUS out there somewhere.
Wait,
well,
what?
you know, I don't want to. There's a lot of talk at the moment on Twitter. There's a lot of back and forth of people sort of saying a lot about Big YEETUS. I'm not saying anything.
Do you think Big YEETUS could become an
YEETUS.
esport?
The definition of esports is changing all the time. We have bowling back in the 1800s,
Esports?
and then they found out they could play football.
Speak my
And the
language.
next thing you know, we've got computers. And so Big YEETUS, I think, is the next step in the evolution of sport.
Did you expect it to trend on Twitter?
You know, I nobody would ever expect that. That's a ridiculous question.
I think if you did expect that, you'd probably deserve my job. I think Big Eatus is exactly what we need in 2020.
It's a beautiful, amazing thing, and I think the fact that Big Eaters can trend in this world is a sign that, you know, we're on the up.
Do you imagine other games will copy Big Eaters and add it to their games as well?
I am worried because, you know, Mario with a hammer. That doesn't seem right.
I can't imagine it. No.
That doesn't feel right. You know, I don't like that. Fortnite, you know, they're kind of doing the whole this kind of players down to one sort of thing. They're going to have a hammer in there now. In a way, you know, copying is the sincerest form of flattery. And so, you know, I say to Tim Sweeney, thanks very much.
In the famous words of Steve Jobs, good artists copy, great artists steal. I think those were the words. But all right, I'm sorry. I'm going to try and stop pausing it so much, and let's just finish the rest of this thing out, and I'll give you my thoughts after.
That's good. We have some haters who say things like, "You've just called a hammer after Big Chungus." What would you say to those haters?
I'd say
apparently this is a song. I know I just said I'm going to stop pausing, but we had to do it. Ad, cool. Copyright, probably.
Listen, you know, I think I haven't even heard of Big Chungy. You know, there are a lot of artists out there who will steal and will pinch stuff. The thing about me is all my ideas are 100% original. I lay down at night and I stare at the ceiling and I don't even think about anything else. And it's just there in the very center of the mind is where you find the purest ideas. And that's Big Eatus. And if anyone wants to call me a liar, I'll sue you. That's not true.
I'm really hoping that we'll see a Big Eatus game standalone. Do you think that's possible?
The thing is, I think basically the way you get things through in this industry is to leak it on Twitter. So I'm thinking if we announce right here and now, Big Yeetus the game coming 2022, yeah. And I think, you know, we'll have to run it up by the higher ups, you know, how business works. But I think when they see the viral potential of Big Yeetus, it's not going to matter anymore. You know, numbers become faces, and those faces are smiling.
Cool. There was talk of people getting Big Yeetus tattoos. How do you feel about
that? Really?
Oh, that's scary.
So does it worry you that people have fallen in love with Big Yeetus?
It worries me a little bit because I can see why people are attracted. You know, like, is it this kind of figure of
can see why people are attracted to big things
of power, maybe that doesn't care, but that can love you if you love it right. You know, if you jump into Big Eatus in the right way, Big Eatus will fling you in the right way, and I think that's really lovely. But I think there are going to be a lot of heartbroken people out there.
Where are we going?
I've noticed that Big Eatus is actually floating. What's the sort of story behind that? How does it stay up in the air?
Well, Big Yeetus kind of like exists in the space between levels. We call it the Blunderdome, but it's this kind of, you know, universe where things can sort of move in and out. I don't know if you've heard of chaos theory. What we're talking about here is that, you know, sometimes Yeetus will kind of like shift through the
chaos theory is an interdisciplinary theory stating that within the apparent randomness of chaotic complex systems, there are underlying patterns, interconnectedness, constant feedback loops, repetition, self-similarity, fractals? What the hell is that? And self-organization. A curve or geometric... Siri, I didn't say anything. Do you shut up? a curve or geometric figure, each part of which has the same statistical character as okay, listen, to be honest, I am just reading and I am not retaining any of the information that I just read to you guys, but I hope you guys got that.
The strings and the threads that attach us all together, and will just appear in a level, will be there, will cause some damage, and will go. And you might never even see it again. You might never see it again. Because that is kind of the nature of Big YEETUS.
Never see it again.
It's intangible. It's floating in midair. One moment it's there, and the next it's gone, and it's beautiful.
So if Big YEETUS appears and nobody sees it, did it exist?
Ooh.
I see you've tried to catch me out there, but I won't be commenting on that.
Some people have asked if Fall Guys was an excuse to create Big YEETUS.
Get out of here.
Well, you won't hear that from Joe Walsh, lead game designer. You won't hear it from the kind of the business, the suits. You won't hear it from any of them. But I'm here to tell you directly that maybe.
Some people have argued that Big YEETUS sounds like a meme and not a real thing, but you can confirm, surely, that it is actually
when is it coming?
Quite real.
Tell us.
Some would argue that that Fall Guys and potentially the Fall Guys Twitter account don't exist, and that you don't actually exist, and that you're a meme. That I've seen a lot of this talk. Is Fall Guys a meme or is it a game?
Don't go down that rabbit hole.
I was against it. I hated it, but now that Big YEETUS has taken off, I'm all for it, and I believe that it's all just labels, man. Big YEETUS is real.
You heard it first.
All right, and I think that just about wraps up everything you could possibly want to know about Big YEETUS. So thanks a lot for joining us.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Oliver. And I've got to go. I've got to fix a bug to do with something that rhymes with pig sneetus.
Goodbye.
All right, guys. There you have it. What is Big YEETUS? It's bigger. It's faster. And apparently, if you treat it right, it'll treat you right. But when is it going to be released? I have no idea. But this is Rico from the Hot Dog Bottom Boys. I'll see you on the field.